A man drove to Augusta, picked up a U-Haul, drove it back to Waterville, and unloaded every piece of his own furniture onto the side of the road an hour before his closing, over curtain rods. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I can tell you, closings will fall apart over fixtures, not just the roof or the furnace, but curtain rods. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what the contract says stays with the house when you sell it in Maine. And I'm going to share 3 true closing stories from my career that highlight what could possibly go wrong. Here's the confusion, and it's completely understandable. When you sell a house, what exactly comes with it? Does the shed stay? Does the wood stove stay? What about the curtain rods? The general legal test is pretty simple, even if the arguments about it aren't. 3 questions. Is it attached to the house? Was it adapted specifically for that house? And did the person clearly intend for it to stay? Our Maine contract spells it out in paragraph 3. It names storm windows, screens, shades and blinds, shutters, curtain rods, built-in appliances, heating sources and systems, including wood and pellet stoves, sump pumps, electrical fixtures, hardwired generators, and landscaping. All of that is included with the sale unless the seller specifically excludes it in writing. Read that again, because it's the whole ball game. The default is that it stays. If a seller wants to take something that's on that list, they have to say so in writing before the deal is signed. Silence means it conveys. Personal property works the exact opposite way. Only items specifically listed convey, and they come in as is condition with no warranties. If it's not written down, it doesn't come with the house. Fixtures convey unless excluded. Personal property does not convey unless included. Flip that around in your head and you'll avoid 90% of the fights I'm about to tell you about. Here's where it gets personal. One of my first years in the business, wood stoves were still treated as personal property in a lot of people's minds. The seller took it. I hadn't specifically asked for it in my buyer's offer. I had to pay out of my own pocket for a wood stove that got removed from the home because it wasn't protected in writing. That doesn't happen today. Not because I got smarter overnight, but because the rules have changed. Heating sources and systems, including wood and pellet stoves, are now specifically named as fixtures in our Maine contracts. They are conveyed with the property. But I tell you that story because it's proof these aren't hypothetical technicalities. When the contract language is unclear or nobody double checks it, real money changes hands out of somebody's pocket. Sometimes the agents, if they're the ones who missed it. Now flip it. Sheds are almost always personal property, not fixtures, because they're freestanding, not attached to the structure of the home. I represented a seller, and at a final walkthrough, the shed was gone. The buyer's agent never asked for the shed in writing, which meant my seller had every legal right to take it. Now, I'll be honest with you, legally correct doesn't always feel good. The buyer's agent put their client in a tough spot. Not because my seller did anything wrong, because they never asked for it in writing. If you want the shed, the swing set, the pool table, anything freestanding, you have to ask for it by name in writing in the offer. Not assume it, not hope for it, ask. And just because the ad states that the home comes fully applianced, if the buyer doesn't ask for the new fridge to stay in writing, the seller can actually take it. Let that sink in for a moment. And now the reason I opened with a U-Haul on the side of the road. Curtain rods are fixtures, and they have caused me more stress than you could possibly imagine. Sellers can absolutely take the curtains with them, but the rods themselves are obligated to stay. 2 of my most infamous final walkthroughs in 25 years were about curtain rods. Let me tell you about both. Story number 1. I represented the seller. He took the curtain rods when he moved. He simply forgot that they were a fixture. The buyer did their final walkthrough, and here's the first mistake, only about an hour before closing. I always recommend doing the final walkthrough the day before, not the morning of. And this is exactly why. The buyer noticed that the rods were missing and refused to close without them. So my seller had to drive to Augusta, pick up a U-Haul, drive it back to Waterville, and unload every piece of his own furniture onto the side of the road because the curtain rods were packed in the very front of the truck. It made for a very uncomfortable closing, but the buyer was right to ask for them. The rods were a fixture. They were supposed to stay. The seller offered a financial concession, but the buyer stood on principle and demanded that the curtain rods be returned. Story number 2. This time, I represented the buyer. At the final walkthrough, the curtain rods were missing in the primary bedroom and in the living room. I asked my clients what they wanted me to do. The wife said very clearly she wanted the curtain rods back. So at closing, I brought it up, calmly, professionally. And the seller pounded her fist on the table and told me they were her personal property and she was not bringing them back. I politely and calmly told her they're a fixture. They're supposed to stay. She defiantly refused anyway. My buyers decided to move forward with the closing rather than blow up the deal. I was right about the contract. I said it the right way, and somehow I'm the one who got the bad review. Moving on. Did I tell you that I hate curtain rods? So here's what I want you to walk away with, whether you're buying or selling. If you're selling, anything on that fixtures list, heating systems, curtain rods, built-in appliances, electrical fixtures, perennials, if you want to take it, you have to exclude it in writing in paragraph 3 before the contract is signed. Not after, not at the walkthrough, before. If you're buying, anything you want that isn't on the fixtures list, a shed, a swing set, a specific appliance that isn't built in, you have to name it specifically in paragraph 4 in writing in your offer. If it's not written down, don't count on it. Do your final walkthrough the day before closing, not the morning of. You have a contractual right to view the property within 24 hours of closing. Use that window. Don't compress it down into 1 hour because if something's missing, you need time to fix it. Not a U-Haul full of furniture sitting on the side of the road. This is the whole reason I do this work the way I do it. I'm not here to just get you to the closing table. I'm here to make sure you understand exactly what you're agreeing to. So nobody's standing in their driveway unloading furniture an hour before they're supposed to be signing papers. If you're buying or selling in Central Maine, I want you to walk into that process actually understanding what you're signing, not just trusting that it'll all work out. You can reach me at 207-649-6893 or find everything at surette-realestate.com. And if this saved you from a future curtain rod fight, do me a favor and share it with someone who's about to list their house. If you've got a fixtures question of your own, drop it in the comments. I read every one and I answer them. My name is Jeff Jolicoeur with the Surette Real Estate Team, brokered by eXp. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next one where we get into the rest of the final walkthrough nightmares.